I set the coffee cup down, its heat still rising in the crisp morning air, and move toward the kitchen. The cottage is silent, too quiet in a way that makes the smallest sounds feel significant. The scrape of my slippers against the hardwood floor, the creak of the old door as it swings open to the pantry, each sound amplified in the absence of everything else. The solitude is a balm, and yet something inside me stirs. The thought of Sandra's parents coming to stay here fills me with a cold unease. The idea of being trapped in the same house with them, with the lies, the pretensions, the hidden agendas, they all come rushing back, relentless. My hands move automatically, preparing the ingredients for a simple breakfast: eggs, a slice of sourdough, butter. I work slowly, carefully. There is no need to rush. I haven't felt the need to rush in months. The minutes stretch out before me, easy to fill with thoughts, or nothing at all. But today is different. Today, the calm is just a prelude. Tomorrow, everything changes. As I crack the eggs into a hot pan, the sizzle fills the room. I think about the phone call I had with my son, his voice cutting through my newfound peace like a knife. It's not even the words he said that bother me. It's the arrogance, the assumption that I will bend. Sandra's parents coming to stay here? It's nothing short of a command, as though I don't have a choice in the matter. It's not the first time they've tried to push me. The wedding, the keys, the apartment, all of it, a tangled web of manipulation designed to make me feel small. But that slap, that moment in the wedding hall, had been the last straw. It was the last time I let them think they could control me. I flipped the eggs, watching them cook, and let my mind wander. I haven't seen my son since that day. After the wedding, I left without a word. I knew he would come to me eventually, with some excuse, some demand, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. I should have expected it, though. They always come. They always demand. But I'm not who I used to be. That woman, the one who used to give in, who used to apologize even when she wasn't wrong. She's gone. She died the moment Sandra slapped me, the moment my son turned his back on me. I've learned to live without them. It's easier this way. I finish my breakfast and sit down at the table, the eggs and toast before me, the cup of coffee within easy reach. The house is peaceful, and I take a moment to savor it, knowing it won't last much longer. Sandra's parents will arrive tomorrow, and that will be the beginning of the end of this quiet life I've built for myself. The phone rings again. I glance at the screen, the name flashing there, the same name that has appeared twice in the last week. Mark. He's been calling me with increasing frequency, trying to get me to reconsider, trying to remind me of the family I left behind. But I know better than to trust him. He's not calling to check on me. He's calling because he wants something. I've known him long enough to see through the pretenses. I let the phone ring out. The quiet settles back in. The deer outside returns, walking cautiously through the underbrush. It looks over its shoulder, as though testing the air for danger, before stepping forward again. I smile to myself, watching it, knowing that the creature is smarter than most people I know. It understands when to run, when to stay, when to trust its instincts. I've been doing the same, learning to listen to the quiet voice inside me that tells me when to move, when to wait. Tomorrow, I'll move. I spend the next several hours preparing, gathering the items I'll need, double-checking everything. It's methodical, like an old habit I've slipped into without even thinking. But there's an edge to it now, a tension that wasn't there before. The stakes are higher. This time, I'm not running away. This time, I'm taking control. By midday, I've packed everything I'll need. A small bag of clothes, the essentials, nothing too noticeable. Nothing that will draw attention. I've always been good at blending in, at making myself invisible when I need to. That's one of the things they never understood about me. They always assumed I was weak, that I would break under their pressure. But they were wrong. I've always been stronger than they gave me credit for. The sun starts to dip low in the sky, casting long shadows across the yard. I sit at the window, watching the light fade, the mist rising again in the trees. The calm is almost oppressive now, as though the world is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. My phone buzzes again, and this time, I answer it. "I'm ready," I say. There's a pause on the other end, a brief hesitation before the voice replies. "You're sure?" "Yes. It's time." The voice on the other end of the line doesn't hesitate this time. "Understood. We'll be there tomorrow, like we discussed." I hang up without another word. There's nothing more to say. The next part of the plan is set in motion, and there's no turning back now. I stand up from the window, moving toward the door. I need to get some rest before tomorrow. But as I reach for the door handle, a thought crosses my mind. A fleeting, almost irrelevant thought, but one that still lingers in my mind like a whisper. What if I could go back? What if I could fix things with my son? I shake my head. The thought is ridiculous. The damage has been done. There's no going back now. Even if I wanted to, even if I tried, it wouldn't change anything. They've already decided who I am, what I'm worth, and I'm done trying to prove them wrong. The night settles in, and the silence returns, wrapping around me like a familiar cloak. Tomorrow, everything changes. The black Mercedes arrives at 3:15, exactly when my son-in-law said it would. I watch from behind the curtain as two figures emerge. Sandra's parents. I've met them twice before. Both times they spoke to me like I was the help. Gerald steps out first, all silver hair and golf tan. His wife Patricia follows, tugging at her designer coat like the forest might contaminate it. They stare at my cottage with visible disgust. I open the door before they can knock. "Dr. Ross," Gerald says, not bothering with warmth. "Where should we put our bags?" "Back in your car," I say. Patricia's perfectly painted eyebrows rise. "Excuse me? You're not staying here. This is my home. I didn't invite you." Gerald's face reddens. "Now you listen here. Your son specifically said, 'My son doesn't own this property. I do. You're trespassing.'" I start to close the door. Gerald shoves his foot in the gap. "You stubborn old woman. You think you can just hide out here and ignore your family? You owe them. You owe Sandra and Tom everything." "I owe them nothing. The apartment is mine, bought and paid for with money I earned while your daughter was still learning to walk." Patricia steps forward, her voice dripping false sweetness. "Dr. Ross, we're family now. Surely we can be reasonable adults about this." "Were you being a reasonable adult when you laughed while your daughter slapped me at the wedding?" I ask. "Or when you told everyone at the reception that I was senile and needed to be in a home?" Her mouth opens, closes, opens again. "I heard you," I continue. "Every word. So did 12 other people. I have their statements written down, signed and dated. Would you like to see them?" Gerald pulls his foot back. "You're making a mistake. Tom and Sandra won't let this stand. Tell them to come discuss it, in person, both of them, alone." I close the door and lock it. Through the window, I watch them argue beside their car. Gerald makes a phone call. His gestures grow more animated. Finally, they drive away, tires spitting gravel. I sit down and wait. The call comes 20 minutes later. "What the hell did you say to them?" my son demands. "The truth. They're not welcome here. You embarrassed us. Again, just like you embarrassed us at the wedding by making a scene." "I made a scene? I was assaulted. Sandra barely touched you." The words hit like ice water. This is my son, my child, the boy I raised alone after his father died. And he's defending the woman who struck me in front of 100 witnesses. "You've changed," I say softly. "No, you have. Ever since Dad died, you've been difficult. Stubborn. You won't listen to reason about the apartment. You won't help us with the down payment for the house. I won't bankroll your lifestyle anymore. That's what you mean." Silence. We need that apartment, he says finally. The market's good. We could clear 600,000. We? You'd get your share, obviously. How generous. What share would that be? More silence. Tom? We figured you'd keep 100,000. That's plenty for someone your age. You don't need much. I close my eyes. Something in my chest breaks cleanly, like a bone snapping. Come up here, I say. You and Sandra. This weekend. We'll discuss everything face to face. Really? Suspicion colors his voice. Really? Bring all the paperwork. Deeds, titles, everything. We'll sort it out properly. I can almost hear him smiling. Okay. Okay, that's great, Mom. I knew you'd see reason. We'll drive up Saturday morning. I'll be waiting. After I hang up, I make 3 more calls. The first is to my lawyer. The second is to my accountant. The third is to the man with the cold voice who answers on the first ring. Saturday, I tell him. 2 targets. Make it clean. Already in motion, he says. I pour myself a glass of wine and watch the sun set through the pines. The deer returns, cautious but curious. It watches my window with dark, intelligent eyes. I raise my glass to it. Saturday morning breaks clear and cold. Frost covers the ground like scattered diamonds. I'm up at dawn, preparing. The cottage is spotless. Coffee brews in the kitchen. Fresh bread sits on the counter, still warm. Everything looks welcoming, comfortable, safe. Appearances matter. Tom and Sandra arrive at 10. They're in Sandra's white BMW, the one they bought instead of paying me back the $20,000 I loaned them 3 years ago. I've stopped asking about that money. Some lessons need to be learned the hard way. Sandra emerges first, yoga pants and designer sunglasses, phone already in her hand. Tom follows, carrying a leather briefcase I gave him for his birthday. He doesn't remember that. I do. Mom. He hugs me stiffly. Sandra doesn't bother, just walks past me into the cottage. Nice place, she says, looking around like she's evaluating real estate. Small, though, very small. It suits me. I bet. Not much to clean. She drops onto my sofa without being invited. So let's talk business. Tom has all the papers. Coffee first, I say. We should do this properly. I serve them in the good china. Sandra takes hers with 2 sugars and cream, then immediately sets it aside to scroll through her phone. Tom fidgets with his cup, not drinking. You look good, Mom, he says. Rested. I am. We've been worried about you. Out here all alone. What if something happened? Like what? An accident. A fall. You're not young anymore. I'm 63. I run 3 miles every morning and can still suture a wound with my eyes closed. But to him, I'm ancient. I'm perfectly capable, I say. Sandra looks up from her phone. Are you? Because honestly, Dr. Ross, this whole thing seems like a cry for help. Running away to the woods, refusing to see family, turning away Tom's in-laws when they just wanted to visit. It's not normal behavior. Turning away people who disrespect me is perfectly normal. We never disrespected you. The lie sits between us, enormous and obvious. I let it breathe. The apartment, Tom says, clearly uncomfortable. Let's focus on that. Sandra and I have been looking at houses, really nice ones, but we need the capital. If we sell now, we can... No. His face falls. Mom, you promised we'd discuss it. We are discussing it. The answer is no. Sandra's phone clatters onto the coffee table. Tom flinches but doesn't defend me. That apartment is family property, Sandra continues. Your husband bought it. With money I earned. He was unemployed for 6 years before he died. Every mortgage payment came from my salary. Doesn't matter. You owe us. I owe you nothing, but you owe me $47,000. Silence. What? Tom says weakly. The $20,000 I loaned you for the car. The $12,000 for your wedding, which you promised to repay. The $8,000 for Sandra's credit card debt. The $7,000 for your honeymoon to Bali. Should I continue? Those were gifts, Sandra says. No, they were loans. I have the emails. Tom specifically used the words, "I'll pay you back, I promise," in 14 separate messages. Tom's face goes pale. You kept track? I'm a doctor. I document everything. Sandra stands up, her voice rising. This is ridiculous. We're your family. You deserve what you've earned, which is nothing. She steps forward. For a moment, I think she might hit me again. I almost hope she does. This time, I'm ready. But Tom grabs her arm. Sandra, let's just go. No. She jerks free. No, this old woman is going to listen. We have been planning our future around that apartment. We have contracts signed, deposits paid. You can't just... I can do whatever I want. It's my property. We'll sue you. Try it. I have excellent lawyers. Better than you can afford, certainly. Sandra's face goes red, then white. She grabs her purse, knocking over her coffee. It spreads across my table in a dark puddle. You'll regret this, she says. I doubt that. Tom lingers at the door. For a second, I see my little boy in his eyes, confused and hurt. Then it's gone, replaced by something harder. Goodbye, Mom, he says. Goodbye, Tom. They leave. The BMW's engine roars to life, angry and loud. Gravel flies as they speed away. I clean up the spilled coffee and wait. The next morning, I wake early, the weight of the conversation with the man on the phone still lingering in my mind. My instincts are sharper than they've ever been, and the phone call was nothing more than a warning, a reminder that the game has changed. They think they can intimidate me, force me back into the role of the helpless old woman. But I've already made my move. Now, it's their turn to make theirs. I start my day with the usual routine: coffee, a quick breakfast, and a walk outside to stretch my legs. The air is crisp, the forest silent, save for the occasional rustling of leaves. The beauty of this place is almost cruel, so peaceful it could lull anyone into a false sense of security. But I know better. The calm before the storm is always the most dangerous. Helen's advice rings in my ears. Record everything. Document everything. If they come for me again, I'll be ready. But today, I don't feel the need to wait for another call. I don't feel like sitting back and letting them play their hand. I've already made my decision, and the next step is clear. It's time to get ahead of them. I spend the next few hours preparing, moving quickly and deliberately. I've always been efficient in my work, and it's no different now. I double-check the documents Helen gave me, making sure every line is as it should be, every trust, every transfer, every contingency. It's all there, all accounted for. It's all designed to leave them with nothing. I take a moment to breathe. The sun is just beginning to rise above the horizon, casting a soft golden light over the land. It's beautiful, in a way that almost feels like a mockery. Beauty, I think, is often the quietest form of cruelty. It hides everything behind a perfect facade. But underneath that surface, there's a lot of darkness. By the time the phone rings again, it's nearly noon. This time, it's the cold voice of the man from yesterday, the one who had made the thinly veiled threat. My hand tenses on the phone, but I answer anyway. You're still there, he says, as though it's a surprise. We didn't expect you to be so persistent. I don't speak right away. Instead, I take a deep breath, steadying myself. I won't let him control the conversation this time. You've made a very serious mistake, I say, my voice as calm as I can manage, but with an edge that makes him pause. We were hoping to avoid this, but you left us no choice, he responds, his tone colder now, more calculating. Your son has made it clear that you need to reconsider your position. This doesn't have to get ugly. It already is ugly, I reply, the words cutting through the air like a knife. And it will only get worse from here on out. You should have thought about that before you made your move. He laughs, but it's not a real laugh, It's forced, and I can hear the tension underneath it. You're a stubborn woman. I'll give you that. But you've still got a choice. Do I? I ask, letting the silence stretch between us. Because as far as I'm concerned, the only choice left is for you to back off. Otherwise, I'll make sure you regret this. You don't know who you're dealing with. Another pause. Longer this time. I can almost hear him weighing his options, but in the end, he only says one thing before hanging up. We'll see how long your resolve lasts. I stare at the phone for a long moment, my fingers tight around the receiver. I don't call Helen this time. I don't need to. I'm past the point of waiting for advice. This isn't just about money, about the apartment, about my son. It's about power. It's about control, and I'm not going to let them have it. I place the phone down gently and start to prepare for what's next. The doorbell rings just as I'm finishing up my lunch. I glance at the clock, 1 p.m. It's too early for Sandra's parents to have arrived, and I haven't seen anyone approaching from the road. I move cautiously, walking to the door without making a sound. When I look through the peephole, I see two men standing on my doorstep. Neither of them looks familiar, but their suits are too expensive, too tailored to be anything but trouble. I don't open the door immediately. Instead, I step back and reach for the kitchen drawer, pulling out the small but sharp kitchen knife I keep tucked in the back. It's a precaution. I've always been prepared. I take a deep breath and then open the door. The man at the front steps forward, his hand outstretched. He's tall, with sharp features and dark, calculating eyes. His suit is black, the fabric shimmering faintly in the sunlight. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Harrison," he says, his voice smooth, too smooth. "We need to talk." I don't respond immediately. I just stand there, letting the silence stretch. "I'm not interested in talking," I say after a beat. "But if you're here to threaten me, you're wasting your time. I'm not afraid of you." His smile falters, just for a second, before he regains his composure. "I think you'll find we're not here to threaten you, Mrs. Harrison. We're here to make sure you understand the consequences of your actions." "And what actions are those?" I ask, tilting my head slightly. I don't invite them inside, but I don't shut the door either. "You're making a mistake," he says, his eyes narrowing. "A big one. And if you don't correct it, well, the consequences will be severe." I raise an eyebrow, my grip tightening around the knife in my pocket, though I don't show it. "I don't think you understand," I reply, my voice steady. "There's nothing you can do to me that would make me change my mind. Whatever you're planning, it's already too late." For a moment, he says nothing. Then he steps back, glancing over his shoulder at his companion. "We'll be in touch," he says, his tone colder than before. "Remember, Mrs. Harrison, no one gets away with defying us." And with that, they turn and walk down the path, their footsteps fading into the distance. I close the door and lock it behind me, taking another deep breath. The game is no longer just a matter of money. It's a matter of survival. I reach for the phone, ready to call the man with the cold voice again. But just before I dial, something in my gut tells me to wait. I don't need to make another call. Instead, I head back to the window, watching the two men retreat into the distance, and I smile. They'll be back. They always come back. And when they do, I'll be waiting. Sunday passes quietly. Too quietly. I know they're planning something. Tom isn't creative, but Sandra is vicious when cornered, and now they're desperate. I spend the day preparing. The cottage has good security, locks, cameras. I check them all. In the basement, I have supplies, food, water, medical equipment from my practice, old habits from my residency days when I worked in the ER and learned to plan for worst-case scenarios. At 6 p.m., I hear vehicles. 3 cars pull up. Tom and Sandra in the BMW, Gerald and Patricia in their Mercedes, and a pickup truck I don't recognize carrying 2 large men in work clothes. I watch from the window as they gather in my driveway, pointing at the cottage, arguing among themselves. Sandra's gesturing wildly, Tom looks uncertain. Gerald is on his phone. They approach the door together, a united front. I open it before they can knock. This is private property, I say. You're trespassing. We're family, Patricia says, trying to push past me. I don't move. Family doesn't threaten. Family doesn't assault. Family doesn't steal. We're not stealing anything, Tom says, but he can't meet my eyes. Then what are they for? I nod at the two men behind him. We're going to collect what's ours, Sandra says. Starting with the furniture. Half of everything in this cottage came from the apartment. Our apartment. My apartment. And I have receipts for every item here. Would you like to see them? Gerald steps forward. This is insane. You're being completely unreasonable. We're trying to help you, and you're acting like a paranoid. I'm paranoid? You brought hired thugs to intimidate me. They're movers, Sandra snaps. Then they can move right back to their truck and leave my property. One of the large men shifts uncomfortably. The other stares at me, expressionless. We're not leaving, Sandra says. Not without what we came for. Then I'm calling the police. I reach for my phone. Sandra lunges forward faster than I expected. She grabs my wrist, her nails digging into my skin. Don't you dare, she hisses. I twist sharply, breaking her grip with a move I learned in self-defense classes 30 years ago. She stumbles back, surprised. Touch me again, I say quietly, and I will press charges, for assault, for harassment, for everything. Tom finally speaks. Mom, please. We just need to talk, really talk. Can we come inside? No. 5 minutes, please. Something in his voice stops me. Not manipulation, actual desperation. I study his face, looking for my son beneath the entitled stranger he's become. 5 minutes, I say. You and me, everyone else stays outside. Sandra starts to protest, but Gerald grabs her arm. Let him try. Tom follows me inside. The door closes, leaving the others on the porch. We stand in my kitchen, the space suddenly too small. He looks around, taking in the simple furniture, the clean counters, the window overlooking the forest. You really like it here, he says. I do. I don't understand why. It's so isolated. That's exactly why I like it. He sits at the table without being asked. I remain standing. I'm sorry, he says finally, for everything, for Sandra's behavior at the wedding, for the way we've treated you, for all of it. Are you? Or are you sorry because I won't give you money? He flinches. Both, maybe. I don't know. Everything got so complicated. Sandra has these expectations. Her parents have expectations. I'm trying to make everyone happy and I can't. So you decided to sacrifice me? No, I just thought, you always said family comes first. I thought you'd understand. Help us out, like you always did. I helped you because you were my son. But there's a difference between helping and being used. I never meant to use you. Didn't you? When was the last time you called just to talk? Not to ask for money, not to demand something, just to see how I was doing. He opens his mouth, closes it, thinks hard. I can't remember, he admits. Neither can I. Silence fills the space between us. Outside I hear Sandra's raised voice, Patricia responding. What do you want from me? Tom asks quietly. Nothing. Not anymore. But the apartment is mine. It will stay mine until I die. Then it will go to charity. His head snaps up. What? I changed my will last week. Everything goes to medical research. You get nothing. The color drains from his face. You can't do that. I already did. But I'm your son. Your only child. And you chose your wife and her family over me. Actions have consequences. He stands, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. This is crazy. You're punishing me because of Sandra's mistakes? I'm protecting myself from people who've proven they don't respect me. That includes you. I do respect you. Then prove it. Tell Sandra and her parents to leave. Tell those men outside to leave. Come back when you're ready to apologize sincerely without asking for anything in return. She'll never forgive me if I do that. Then you've made your choice. He stares at me for a long moment. I see the war in his eyes, the impossible decision. Finally, he walks to the door. I thought you loved me, he says without turning around. I do. That's why this hurts so much. He leaves. I watch through the window as he returns to the group. Sandra immediately starts shouting, but I can't hear the words. Tom stands there, head down, while she gestures wildly. Then one of the hired men walks toward my door. I lock it just before he tries the handle. He pulls hard, testing the deadbolt. Then he steps back and kicks. The door holds. He kicks again. The frame shutters. I grab my phone and dial 911. I need police at 4177 Pine Ridge Road. Multiple people attempting to break into my home. I'm alone and... The window shatters. Glass explodes inward. One of the men reaches through, trying to unlock the door from inside. I grab a heavy cast-iron skillet from the stove and bring it down on his arm. He screams and jerks back. Blood spatters the floor. They're breaking in now, I tell the dispatcher, my voice eerily calm. I've defended myself. One of them is injured. Officers are en route. Stay on the line. Through the broken window, I see chaos. Tom is trying to pull Sandra back to the car. Patricia is screaming at the injured man. Gerald is on his phone, probably calling his lawyer. The second man appears at the door, but he doesn't try to kick it. He just stands there watching me through the small window. I watch back. Sirens wail in the distance, getting closer. The man steps away. By the time the police arrive, all 3 cars are gone, leaving only tire tracks and broken glass behind. The silence of the cottage presses in on me as I sit at the table, staring at the documents, the photos, the evidence in front of me. They think they can break me. They think they can intimidate me into giving up my life, my independence, my peace. But now, I have something they don't. Control. I take a slow sip from the glass in my hand, letting the warmth of the whiskey spread through me. The night outside is deepening, the shadows in the forest stretching longer, but inside, there's only clarity. For the first time in months, the pieces fall into place. They've underestimated me. All of them. My son, Sandra, Gerald, everyone. But that's about to change. The phone vibrates on the table. Another message from the man with the cold voice. I glance at it and then push it aside for a moment. I don't need him right now. I have everything I need. I stand and walk over to the counter, pulling out a fresh sheet of paper. I've written a letter before, but this one is different. This one is a declaration. I write slowly, carefully. Every word is a choice. Every sentence, a calculated move. The offer I'm going to make will be my final one. No more games, no more manipulation. Just one last card to play. Once the letter is done, I read it over twice. It's clear. It's concise, and it's devastating. I fold it neatly, slip it into an envelope, and address it to my son. It's time to end this. I place the envelope in the drawer, locking it away for tomorrow. The hours pass. I don't sleep. I sit at the table contemplating every detail of what's to come. I think about the police, about the broken glass, about the threats. I think about my son's face the last time I saw him, about the way he turned away from me when I needed him most. I think about Sandra's cold, calculating smile, the games they've played, the way they've tried to strip me of everything. It all comes down to this moment. This is the moment when I take back what's mine. The next morning I wake before dawn. The house is still and quiet, and the forest outside is shrouded in fog. I move quickly, gathering what I need for the day. The letter is still in the drawer. I pull it out, tuck it into my bag, and prepare to head to town. The drive is smooth, the roads empty. There's a stillness to everything today, like the calm before a storm. I stop at the post office to send the letter, making sure it's registered so there's no chance of them claiming they didn't receive it. Then, with everything in motion, I head back to the cottage. The phone rings as I'm pulling into the driveway. It's the cold voice again. I answer on the third ring. "It's done," he says. "Your son and his wife don't know yet, but they will soon." "Good," I reply, my voice steady. "I've made my offer." "You're going through with it then? No turning back?" "Once it's started, there's no stopping it." He pauses, and for a moment, I wonder if he's reconsidering. But then he speaks again, his tone colder than before. "Are you sure you want to involve your son? It'll make things complicated." "I'm sure." Another pause. This time, it's longer. The silence stretches out between us like an unspoken understanding. I know he's weighing the consequences, just as I am. But there's no turning back now. Not for me, not for them. "You've got your leverage," he finally says. "Let me know what happens next." "I will." I hang up without another word. I stand by the window, looking out over the misty forest. The air feels heavier now, as though the earth itself is holding its breath, waiting for the final act to unfold. It's time to set the trap. I spend the rest of the day preparing. I review the documents again, the photos, the recordings. Everything is in place. Every last detail has been accounted for. I make a few more calls, check a few more things. I'm methodical, calm, and as I do, I realize just how far I've come. There was a time when I would have been afraid, when I would have crumbled under the pressure. But now I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of anyone. By the time the evening rolls around, the cottage feels different. It feels like the eye of a storm. The tension is thick in the air, but it's manageable. I stand at the door, watching the sky darken, and I know that soon my son and his wife will arrive. I can't imagine what they'll say when they see the letter, when they read my words. They'll be angry, yes, but they'll be desperate too. And that's when the real game begins. I check the locks, double-checking the doors and windows. The house feels secure, but the woman from the police force was right. This life isn't as safe as I once thought. They want to break me. They want to take everything from me. But I won't let them. I sit back down at the table, the letter still tucked away in my bag, my phone close by. I'll wait for them. I'll wait until they're ready to make their next move. I'll wait until they realize that they've underestimated me for the last time. When the knock finally comes, it's exactly as I expect. 3 sharp raps on the door, the sound that signals the beginning of the end. I stand up slowly, walk to the door, and open it. There they are. My son, Sandra, Gerald. All 3 of them, standing on my doorstep, looking more out of place than I've ever seen them. They're nervous, unsure. They didn't expect this. I don't say anything at first. I just stand there, letting the silence stretch between us, letting them feel the weight of what's coming. Finally, my son speaks, his voice shaky. "Mom, what's this about?" I smile. It's not a pleasant smile. It's the smile of someone who's finally taken control. "I think you know exactly what this is about," I say, holding up the envelope. "But in case you don't, let me make it very clear. This is my offer. Take it or leave it." I hand him the letter, and I watch as he takes it, his eyes flicking nervously between me and the envelope. The moment stretches out, and for the first time in years, I feel something like satisfaction. They've played their hand, but now it's my turn. And when I make my move, they'll have no choice but to play along. "Read it," I say softly, "and think carefully." He opens the letter slowly, his hands trembling. Sandra steps forward, her eyes wide, and Gerald stays a step behind, watching everything unfold with a look of disbelief. But they won't be able to stop me. Not now. Not after everything that's happened. The end game is here, and this time, the power is mine. Monday morning, I call my lawyer. "Helen, I want to make a proposal to my son." After what happened Saturday, are you sure? Very sure, but I need your help structuring it. We spend 3 hours on the phone. Helen asks questions, raises concerns, but ultimately agrees. By the end of our conversation, I have exactly what I need. A trap disguised as mercy. I call Tom that afternoon. He answers on the 5th ring, his voice wary. Mom? We need to talk, in person, at your office. I don't think that's a good idea. I do. Tomorrow at 2. Come alone. No Sandra, no lawyers, just you and me. Why? Because I'm making you an offer, one time only. Take it or leave it. Silence. Then, what kind of offer? The kind that solves all your problems, if you're smart enough to accept it. I hang up before he can respond. That night, I barely sleep. My mind runs through every scenario, every possible outcome. By dawn, I've planned for everything. Tuesday morning, I drive to the city. The apartment is exactly as I left it, frozen in time. I walk through rooms filled with memories, Tom's baby pictures on the walls, his father's books on the shelves, 30 years of life together reduced to dust and photographs. I take nothing with me when I leave. Tom's office is downtown, a small commercial space he shares with his business partner. The front desk is unmanned. The waiting area is empty, signs of a struggling company everywhere. I find Tom in his office, surrounded by paperwork. He looks exhausted, older than his 38 years. When he sees me, he straightens, but doesn't stand. You came, he says. I said I would. Sandra wanted to be here. I said to come alone. He gestures to the chair across from his desk. I sit, placing my briefcase carefully beside me. I know about the business, I say without preamble. The debts, the rent, the suppliers, all of it. His face goes white. How? It doesn't matter. What matters is you're drowning, and you thought my apartment was your life raft. We needed the money. For Sandra's gambling debts? He freezes. What? $60,000, 3 different casinos, she's been hiding it from you. That's not, she wouldn't. I pull out the bank statements and slide them across the desk. He reads them slowly, his hands shaking. Oh God, he whispers. There's more. Your father-in-law is having an affair. Your mother-in-law has been writing checks to her sister's failed business. The family you married into is as broke as you are. Worse, actually. They were counting on your inheritance to save them. Tom's face crumples. For a moment, I see my little boy again, lost and scared. Then he hardens. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm giving you a choice. One chance to walk away from all of them and start over. Or you can stay with Sandra and her family and drown together. What choice? I open my briefcase and pull out the documents Helen prepared. I'll give you $250,000, cash, today. In exchange, you sign over any claim to my apartment, my assets, my estate. You divorce Sandra, you cut all ties with her family, and you rebuild your life on your own terms. He stares at me like I've spoken a foreign language. You want me to divorce my wife? I want you to save yourself. Sandra is destroying you. Her family is using you. This money will pay off your debts, keep your business afloat, give you a fresh start, but only if you're smart enough to take it. I can't just divorce her. Why not? Because you love her? Or because you're afraid of what she'll do? He doesn't answer. Tom, I'm your mother. I've watched you spiral for 2 years. Sandra changed you, made you mean and desperate and small. The boy I raised would never have stood by while his wife assaulted his mother. But the man you've become, he's a stranger to me. That's not fair. It's completely fair, and you know it. I push the papers toward him. $250,000, freedom from debt, a chance to be the man you were supposed to be. All you have to do is sign. He picks up the papers with trembling hands, reads through them carefully. I watch his eyes move across every clause, every condition. If I don't sign? He asks finally. Then I keep everything. You get nothing. Your business fails. Sandra's debts consume you, her family drags you down, and in the end, you lose it all anyway. You're forcing me to choose between you and my wife. No, I'm forcing you to choose between self-destruction and survival. I just happen to be the only one offering you an escape. He sets the papers down, stands, walks to the window overlooking the street below. I thought we were family, he says quietly. So did I. Until you proved otherwise. He turns, and there are tears on his face. I'm sorry. For everything. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I can't just abandon Sandra. Even though she's abandoned you? She made mistakes, but she's my wife. And I'm your mother. That didn't stop you from choosing her over me. He closes his eyes. When he opens them again, something has broken inside him. What if I take the money and don't divorce her? Then you'll have broken a legal contract, and I'll sue you for every penny plus damages. You'll end up worse than you started. You'd really do that? Without hesitation. We stand there, facing each other across the wreckage of our relationship. Finally, Tom walks back to his desk and picks up a pen. I need to think about it, he says. You have 24 hours. After that, the offer expires. I pick up my briefcase and walk to the door. Before I leave, I look back at him. I do love you, I say. That's why I'm giving you this chance. But if you choose Sandra, I'm done, completely. You'll never hear from me again. Mom, 24 hours. I leave him there, surrounded by debts and decisions. The tears don't last long. They never do, but they serve their purpose. For once, I let myself feel the weight of it all. The betrayal, the loss, the hollow absence of the person I used to call my son. The boy I raised. The man who, for reasons I'll never fully understand, let himself be consumed by Sandra and everything she brought with her. When the tears stop, I take a deep breath. I wipe my face, start the car, and head back to the cottage. There's no use in staying in the city any longer. Tom has made his choice, and there's nothing left for me there. There's nothing left for me with him. The drive is quiet. The world outside is beautiful, peaceful. The sun is setting, casting an amber glow over the road. It should feel like a victory, but all I can feel is a strange emptiness. This is what I wanted, wasn't it? The deal, the end of the games. But somehow, now that it's done, I feel more alone than I ever did. I arrive at the cottage well after dark, the house as still as I left it. The silence is overwhelming, but it's the kind of silence that feels safe. There's no one to walk in and disrupt my peace, no one to tell me what to do, what to feel. It's just me, and the world outside, and whatever comes next. I sit down at the table, the papers from earlier still in my bag. I glance at them briefly, but I don't need to read them again. I know exactly what they say. Tom's signature is there, the deal done. The money transferred, and in exchange, he's lost everything. His connection to me, his claim to the estate, and, ultimately, his marriage to Sandra. It's a high price to pay for what he's done. But I've come to realize that there are some things in life that are worth sacrificing everything for. I pour myself another drink and stare out the window. The forest is dark, the trees swaying gently in the wind. The air feels thick with possibility, but I don't know what to make of it yet. Maybe I'll rebuild. Maybe I won't. I don't have any answers right now. All I know is that I'm free. The next few days pass in a blur. The silence of the cottage becomes a comfort, and I find myself relishing the solitude. I take walks in the woods, drink my coffee on the porch, and think about the future. The house feels less like a prison and more like a sanctuary, a place where I can finally breathe. Helen keeps me updated on the divorce proceedings. Tom is a wreck, she tells me. He's staying in a small apartment downtown, trying to figure out what comes next. But as far as she's concerned, that's his problem now. She's done her job, and the contracts are in place. Tom can't back out. Sandra, of course, is furious. She's already threatening to take legal action, but Helen assures me that there's no chance she'll win. The evidence is ironclad. Tom signed the papers. He made his choice, and that's all that matters now. I hear from the man with the cold voice once more. Everything's moving smoothly. Your son is coping, but you need to be prepared. There's a chance Sandra will retaliate. She's not the type to back down easily. I'm not worried, I reply, my voice steady. She can try, but it won't matter. You've got the leverage, he says. But don't get complacent. People like them don't give up without a fight. I won't. Trust me. I hang up, and the quiet settles back in, wrapping itself around me like a blanket. The calm before the storm. I know the fight isn't over, but it's no longer about money or property. It's about power, about control. And I've taken that back. Now I just have to wait and see what happens next. The next week, I get a call from Helen. She sounds relieved, almost triumphant. Tom's filed for divorce, she says. It's official, and the settlement has gone through without a hitch. The money's in his account. I can hear the faintest trace of satisfaction in her voice. She's good at what she does, and I'm grateful for that. But even as she tells me everything is falling into place, I feel the same emptiness inside. The son I lost will never come back. There's no going back from this. Is he okay? I ask, though I don't know why I'm asking. It doesn't matter. Not really, she admits. But that's his problem. He'll figure it out, or he won't. I nod, even though she can't see me. I understand. Listen, I know this hasn't been easy for you, Helen says after a moment. But you did the right thing. You've put yourself first for once. That's something most people never do. I had to, I say quietly, for my own sanity. She doesn't respond right away, but I can hear her nodding on the other end. Just keep moving forward, okay? Take care of yourself. That's all you can do now. I don't say anything else before hanging up. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I can breathe a little easier. Tom is gone from my life. Sandra, too. The power they held over me, the control they exerted, it's gone. It's over. The phone rings again, and I glance at the screen. It's my son. I don't answer. The next morning, I wake early, as usual. The sun is just beginning to rise, casting a soft pink light across the trees. I go through my routine. Coffee, breakfast, a walk in the woods. But this time something feels different. There's a new sense of purpose, like I've stepped into a new chapter of my life. I sit down at the table, the wind rustling the trees outside. I think about what I want, what comes next. Maybe I'll sell the cottage. Maybe I'll leave the past behind entirely and move somewhere new, somewhere far away from everything that's happened. But then I realize I don't need to leave. I don't need to run. This is my life now. And for the first time in a long time, I'm finally living it on my own terms. I reach for my phone and finally answer Tom's call. Mom, he says, his voice shaky, we need to talk. No, Tom, I reply, my voice steady. You've made your choice, and so have I. The silence stretches between us, and I know deep down that this is the end. The son I once knew is gone, and now it's time for me to live the life I've been denied for too long. I hang up, and for the first time in months, I don't feel the weight of the past pressing down on me. I feel lighter, unburdened, and for the first time in a long time, I smile. The storm has passed, and now the calm is mine. Sandra calls me that night. Her voice is pure venom. Good evening, Sandra. Don't play cute with me. Tom just told me everything. The money, the divorce, all of it. Then you know it's over. Nothing is over. I'm going to fight this. My lawyer says we can contest it on grounds of coercion. Try it. I have recorded conversations of you and your parents plotting to have me declared incompetent. I have documentation of your gambling debts. I have evidence of your father's affair. Fight me, Sandra, and all of that becomes public record. Silence. Then, quietly, "You recorded us?" "Someone did, and gave me the files. It's all perfectly legal." "You can't do this. Tom loves me." "Tom is afraid of you. There's a difference. He won't go through with it. He'll change his mind. The contract is ironclad. If he backs out, he owes me $250,000 plus interest and legal fees. He can't afford that. You know he can't." Her breathing is ragged on the other end of the line. "I'll make you pay for this," she says. "You already tried. Remember Saturday? Breaking into my home? That's on record now. You come near me again, you go to jail. My parents will—" "Your parents are broke. Your father's mistress is pregnant. Your mother's been embezzling from her sister. They have bigger problems than me." I hear something crash in the background. Sandra screaming. I pour myself tea and sit by the window. The forest is dark, peaceful. For the first time in 2 years, I feel the weight lifting. My phone rings again. Gerald this time. "You've destroyed this family," he says without preamble. "I've freed my son from your family. There's a difference. Tom will never forgive you. Perhaps, but he'll survive. Which is more than I can say for your marriage once Patricia finds out about the baby." Silence. "You wouldn't," he says finally. "I don't have to. Your mistress is 4 months pregnant. How long do you think before people notice? Before someone mentions it to Patricia? These things have a way of coming out. What do you want?" "Nothing from you. But here's some free advice. Leave Tom alone. Leave me alone. Clean up your own mess before trying to profit from mine. If Patricia leaves me, then you'll finally understand what it's like to lose everything. Welcome to my world." I hang up and block his number, then Sandra's, then Patricia's. One by one, I erase them from my life. The phone call from Tom lingers in the air long after it ends, like the last note of a song that fades into the silence of the room. I sit there with Bailey at my feet, my hands resting on my lap, trying to make sense of it all. He sounds different, steadier, like someone who's begun to rebuild themselves from the inside out. The boy I knew, the man I once knew, is still there, somewhere beneath all the wreckage. And yet, it's hard to reconcile the person on the other end of the line with the son who walked away from me without a second glance, who sided with Sandra and her family without hesitation. It's been a long road, but it's a road that's finally starting to feel like it's leading somewhere. The silence in the cottage is no longer oppressive but peaceful. There's a calm now, a rhythm to my days that I've come to treasure. It's a rhythm that includes walks with Bailey in the mornings, quiet evenings spent reading or sitting on the porch, and a sense of safety I never thought I'd have again. The security system gives me peace of mind, but it's the dog at my side that truly makes the house feel like home again. I go about my life, tending to the small things, cooking, cleaning, making sure Bailey gets his walks. I no longer check the mailbox every day, waiting for something from the past to slip through the cracks. I've learned to stop checking social media altogether, deleting the last of the accounts that used to bring nothing but heartache. Every now and then, I catch a glimpse of something about Tom, his new apartment, his business, through the occasional report from Helen, but I don't linger on those updates anymore. They don't have the power over me they once did. The weeks pass, and the rhythm of life begins to settle in. I make peace with the fact that I can't go back to what I had with my son. What's lost, no matter how much I might wish otherwise, is gone. But the call, the apology, was something. Not everything, not yet, but a beginning. And beginnings, I've learned, are often all we can hope for. Tom keeps his word. He calls every Sunday evening, just as we agreed. Each conversation starts with a simple, "How are you?" followed by an update on his therapy and life, now that the dust has settled. He talks about the small victories, the things he's learning, the way his world is beginning to open up in ways he never thought possible. Sometimes we talk for hours, and sometimes it's just a brief check-in, but each time he calls, There's something in his voice, a thread of something I haven't heard in years. It's vulnerability, honesty, something resembling the boy I once knew. Bailey and I go for long walks in the mornings. He's getting used to the rhythm of the house, to the idea of being with me, not a single moment of it taken for granted. We take the same path each day, through the pines and down by the creek, the air crisp and clean. I've learned to find comfort in the routine, in the small things that make up a day. As the months pass, I find myself letting go of the anger. Not completely, not yet, but enough to breathe. I can see Tom trying, and maybe that's enough. The past can never be erased, but it can be put to rest. And I've come to understand that forgiveness doesn't always look like what we think it does. It's not an instantaneous thing. It's a slow burn, a quiet settling into something new. One Sunday evening, just a few months after the first phone call, Tom says something that catches me off guard. "I've been thinking," he says, his voice quieter than usual. "About you, about what you've been through. I think I understand now why you did what you did. I didn't see it before. I was too blind, too selfish." I pause, surprised by his words, unsure of what to say. The words he speaks are different from the Tom I once knew, the one who saw everything in black and white, who couldn't understand why I made the choices I did. He was always the one who expected everything to be handed to him, without ever considering what it cost the people around him. But this is different. This Tom seems to have spent some time in the darkness, searching for answers in places he'd never thought to look before. "I wasn't angry with you for what you did," I say softly. "I was angry because I didn't recognize you anymore. You let someone else decide who you were, who you became." "I know," he admits, his voice thick with regret. "I was weak, and I think that's the hardest part for me to accept. I let her change me, let her convince me that everything I had was just disposable, that you were disposable." My heart tightens at the words, the weight of them hanging in the air between us. For a moment, it's like I'm talking to the son I lost, before the lies, before the betrayal, before Sandra and all the damage she brought with her. "I'm not disposable," I say quietly. "And neither are you, Tom. I'm glad you're finally seeing that." There's a long pause, and I hear him take a shaky breath. "I want to make it right," he says. "I don't expect everything to change overnight, but I do want to make things right. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to earn back your trust." "I don't know if you can," I say honestly, "but that doesn't mean I'm not willing to try." The conversation doesn't end there. We talk for another hour, and by the end of it, I feel something shift. It's not forgiveness, not yet. But it's a step forward, a small one, but a step nonetheless. The next week, I get a letter in the mail. It's from Tom, and I open it with a mix of trepidation and curiosity. Inside, there's a short note, handwritten in his shaky but determined script. "I know you may never fully trust me again, but I'm going to keep trying. I've started making changes in my life, and I've started making amends with people I hurt. You're the first person I owe that to. Please know that I'll keep working on myself, and I'll keep working to show you that I can be the man you always hoped I would be. Thank you for giving me a chance. Your son, Tom." I read the letter twice, then fold it up and place it on the table. I don't know what to do with it, but I don't need to do anything with it yet. It's there. A small but meaningful gesture that lets me know he's trying. That's all I can ask for. Bailey lies at my feet, his heavy breathing a soft comfort in the quiet room. The sun sets outside, casting long shadows across the floor. I sit back, letting the stillness of the moment wash over me. Life is simple now. It's mine. And maybe, just maybe, it's finally starting to feel like it's enough. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know one thing. It's my future. And that, after everything, is something I can finally hold on to. 6 months later, I'm in the garden when I hear a car approaching. Bailey barks, alert but not aggressive. It's Sunday evening. Tom's been calling every week, our conversations growing longer, more honest. But he's never asked to visit. Until now. His car pulls up, the same one he bought with my money, but he looks different, thinner, healthier. The desperate edge is gone from his eyes. "Hey, Mom," he says, getting out slowly. Bailey sniffs him suspiciously. Tom holds out his hand. The dog considers, then allows a cautious pet. "You got a dog?" "I got a companion. There's a difference." He smiles, and I see my son in it. The real one, not the stranger Sandra created. "Can I come in?" he asks. "For a bit." We sit at the kitchen table. I make coffee. He looks around the cottage, really seeing it for the first time. "It's nice here," he says. "Peaceful." "It is." "I understand why you left now. The city was suffocating you. We were suffocating you." "Yes." He wraps his hands around his coffee cup, not drinking, just holding the warmth. "My business is doing well. Really well. We just landed a contract that'll keep us secure for the next 2 years. I moved to a better apartment, started running again, made some new friends. I'm glad. I saw Sandra last month by accident. She was at a casino with some guy I didn't recognize. She looked..." He pauses, lost, like she's still looking for something external to fix what's broken inside. Some people never learn. I almost didn't. If you hadn't forced my hand, I gave you a choice. You made it. Barely. I almost chose her. Almost threw away the money and crawled back. What stopped you? He looks at me directly. You. What you said about being a stranger to yourself. I realized you were right. I didn't recognize who I'd become. Sandra's debts, her family's expectations, the constant scrambling for money. I was drowning and calling it swimming. And now? Now I'm learning to swim properly. It's hard. Some days I want to give up. But I remember that I chose this. I chose to save myself. We drink our coffee in comfortable silence. Outside, the sun is setting, painting the forest gold. "Can I visit again?" he asks. "Not often. Just sometimes, when you're willing. Once a month. We'll see how it goes." "Fair enough." He stands, then hesitates. "Mom, thank you for not giving up on me, even when you should have. You're my son. I never gave up. I just stopped enabling." He hugs me. It's awkward at first, then genuine. When he pulls back, his eyes are wet. "I'll call Sunday," he says. "I'll answer." I watch him drive away, Bailey sitting beside me. The forest settles into evening sounds. Somewhere an owl calls. The wind rustles through the pines. I go inside and close the door, locking it carefully. The cottage is warm, safe, mine. Everything I need, nothing I don't. On the mantel is a single photograph. Tom, at age 10, grinning at the camera with his missing front teeth, before life got complicated, before Sandra, before betrayal. I pick it up, study it, then set it back down. That boy is gone. But maybe, piece by piece, the man can be rebuilt into something better. A year passes, then 2. Tom visits monthly, always calling first, always respecting boundaries. We rebuild slowly, carefully, like constructing a house on a foundation that once cracked. Some days are easy, others are hard, but we persist. He tells me about his life, a new relationship with a woman named Kate who works in urban planning. She's kind, he says. Stable. Nothing like Sandra. He sounds almost surprised that relationships can be peaceful. I tell him about the forest, the books I'm reading, the volunteers I work with at the free clinic in town. I'm still a doctor, just not their doctor anymore. Sandra fades into the background, a cautionary tale we rarely discuss. The last I heard, she'd moved 3 states away, still chasing the next big score. Gerald and Patricia divorced, their house sold at a loss. I don't follow their lives anymore. Helen calls occasionally to confirm that everything remains secure. My will is unchanged. My trusts are protected. But I've added a codicil. If Tom maintains his recovery and our relationship stays healthy for 5 years, he'll receive a portion of my estate. Not all, never all, but enough to know I believed in his redemption. I don't tell him about the codicil. That's not why he's rebuilding. He needs to do it for himself. One Sunday, 2 years and 3 months after he signed the papers, Tom calls with news. Kate and I are getting married, he says. My heart stops. Are you sure? Completely. But we're doing it differently this time. Small ceremony. Just close friends. And Mom, I'd like you to be there. Only if you want to. I want to. No parents section, no in-laws demanding attention, just you as my guest. Kate's parents will be there too, but it's casual. A restaurant. 30 people maximum. When? 3 months, October 15th. I know it's your birthday. Kate suggested it. Said if you're there, it'll mean the day is about new beginnings, not just a wedding. I'm crying and I don't care. I'll be there. Really? Really? The wedding is everything Tom promised. A small Italian restaurant downtown, strung with lights and filled with laughter. Kate is lovely, warm, and intelligent, with kind eyes that remind me of Tom's father. She hugs me when we meet. Thank you for coming, she says. Tom talks about you all the time. Does he? He says you saved his life, that you were tough when he needed tough love, and that's why he's here today. I look at Tom across the room, laughing with his friends, relaxed and genuine. This is who he was supposed to become. He saved himself, I say. I just gave him the tools. The ceremony is brief and heartfelt. No drama, no demands, just 2 people promising to build something together. When they kiss, everyone applauds. At dinner, Tom stands to make a toast. He's nervous, hands shaking slightly. I'm not good at speeches, he starts, but I need to say something. 5 years ago I was drowning. I made terrible choices, hurt people I loved, lost myself completely. My mom did something that seemed cruel at the time. She gave me an ultimatum, change or lose everything. He looks at me. I was angry, thought she was punishing me, but she wasn't. She was giving me one last chance to become the person I should have been all along. Mom, I'm sorry for everything I put you through, and thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. He raises his glass. To second chances, and to the people brave enough to offer them. Everyone drinks. Kate kisses his cheek. I blink back tears. After dinner, Tom walks me to my car. I'm proud of you, I tell him. I'm trying to make you proud. You already have. We hug goodbye. Bailey is waiting in the back seat, her tail wagging. Tom laughs and scratches her ears. Take care of her, he tells the dog. I drive home through the dark forest, the road familiar now. The cottage appears through the trees, lights glowing warm in the windows. Home. Inside, I make tea and sit by the fire with Bailey at my feet. On the table is a card from Tom and Kate, thanking me for coming. I open it and find something else inside. A check for $20,000. The note reads, "The first loan I ever promised to repay. I never forgot. Love, Tom." I hold the check for a long moment, then carefully fold it back into the card. Tomorrow, I'll deposit it into an account earmarked for Tom's future children. He doesn't need to know. Some gifts are better given silently. The fire crackles. Bailey snores softly. Outside, the forest is dark and peaceful. I've lived 67 years, lost a husband, nearly lost a son, fought battles I never wanted to fight, made choices that broke my heart. But I survived. I'm here, in my quiet cottage, on my own terms. The people who tried to break me are gone. The ones who learned from their mistakes are welcome. That's not revenge, that's justice. And on this October evening, with the fire warm and the forest calm, it's enough.